Hi folks, I'm Spencer, and on today's episode of Cult Mania, we're taking a look at Ty West's latest slasher film, X, and seeing if it has the X factor. I am so deeply sorry. For those of you who don't know, X is basically a love letter to 1970s exploitation independent cinema. Very specifically, slasher films and porno. In that, it is a film in which our central characters are off to make a porn film, and then slasher shit happens. We start out, we see this farmhouse. There is carnage everywhere. There are bodies and stuff and blood. And then we flash back and we're introduced to a group of independent, well, I say independent filmmakers, they've never made a film before, but they've decided that to become stars, to make a living, they are going to make a porn film called The Farmer's Daughter. And to do that, they will need a farmhouse. And they have arranged to go to this farmhouse, which is run by two sort of creepy old people, and they're going to make the porno there. And of course, the old people don't know they're going to do that. And the porn people don't know that the old people are bloody psychos. Specifically, psychos triggered by sexy stuff. So of course, this is not going to go well.
Farmer's daughter, take one. I need to be famous, Wayne. All the best people are.
There ain't nobody else out there like you.
Now, looming massively in the back of X is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, literally, there are shots inside the farmhouse that are just, they are shots from Texas Chainsaw. The main entrance into the house has the screen door, has the long corridor, has the stairs. This time, they're just on the left rather than the right, or whichever way. Depends which way you're looking, doesn't it? And I think it's very interesting that X has come out about a month after Texas Chainsaw 22, because that film has hateable characters, very stupid plot, in which, and I'm not knocking it for that, but you're going into it going, I want all these people to die, I don't really care how we get there. Whereas, despite X being clearly, paying a debt to 70s slasher films, this is a serious, proper horror film. This isn't pastiche, this is homage. There aren't jokes, there aren't... Well, no, that's a lie. There are light-hearted moments, there's a shot where a guy is stood silhouetted and you can see he's got a big willy. Stuff like that. There are odd moments of lightness, but overall, this is a very serious film that goes for scary, goes for gory in a brutal, ow way, rather than a whoa type way. And treats its porn subplot is a subplot. What? It's a plot. It isn't like, oh, this is just an excuse to get some tits in it and an excuse for sexy people. It is done in a way where they get to have, there are conversations between the characters about what it is to be in a relationship and have sex with other people, and the changing, people's changing views in the 70s. And it does it all very seriously and does it very well. I find sex on camera very interesting and the history of it very interesting, and I was very, very glad to see that X treats it as something that is very important. I mean, Ty West has made a lot of comments about how he sees, these films were made by the same people. Horror films and porn films were made by the same directors. They played in the same cinemas. It is incredibly tied together. And I very much liked that this film treats it all very there is an interplay between the horror and the sex, and not in just a you have sex, you die, because obviously that doesn't work in this context, because everyone in it is horny to some degree, and it does it in a very subversive, very interesting way. And I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's all interconnected in a very, very interesting way.
I'm looking for a place to stay.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's one ugly son of a bitch.
And I think a huge part of it for me that I really liked as well was that I really liked the characters, and not in just, I mean, Mia Goth playing Maxine, the central character, as well as playing another role in the film, was instantly a sort of, oh, well, I'll go and see that, because I think she's brilliant. I think she's a fantastic genre star. But it wasn't just, oh, I like these actors, I will like the characters, because I think, they're incredibly well written, and everyone is set up as a very sort of a stereotype. Kid Cudi plays the male talent for the porn film, and yes, I mean, he's a very, very handsome man, has a wonderful afro in this, and you could go, well, he's just going to be the tough guy. But there is depth to his character in that he's been in Vietnam, and same with Martin Henderson's character, who is the guy who has put the porn shoot together, who you start out thinking he's just going to be, well, he's going to be creepy and he's going to be a knob, because that's what you expect, whereas, again, he's quite likeable, and you get the sense that he's genuinely trying to do something with his life. General Ortega plays the sound recordist, who's very quiet and very shy, but starts to come out of a show, and in a very genuine way. This is the thing, it doesn't ever feel like you are just... Characters surprised me, which doesn't happen very often in slasher films, and I really, really liked that.
He don't know what we're doing, does he?
Well, it's better to beg for forgiveness and ask for permission.
Would you like to come inside?
Much obliged.
I was also very pleasantly surprised by how creepy the film is. It's very unsettling. There is a lot going on in which... I mean, the film takes a very long time to get to the gore and the death. And that feels like something that should be like, oh no, it's a slasher film in which people don't die for like an hour. But it is so effectively creepy. It was genuinely quite unsettling, and I enjoyed that. A large part of this comes down to the fantastic cinematography that the film has. It has a very classic, old school feel. It's got zooms, I love a zoom, which obviously helps, but a lot of the film is shot in these very wide angles, and it uses the farm space incredibly well. You are constantly scanning for threats, looking for anything. There are, someone might appear in the back of a frame, out of focus, and it will be genuinely really creepy. It can also get in very close. A lot of the gore, you get very up close, very nice. The prosthetics are very, very good across the board. They're very realistic, they're not pulpy, they're not, like I said, it's not pastiche, this isn't Planet Terror, this is, proper gore that's scary and disgusting. There are moments in which you go into the camera that they're filming the porn with. This feels very well done. It never felt like it was overly stylised, the film grain, the cropped 4x3 angle. Felt very authentic, you were very in there. And the editing is actually very, very interesting as well, because there are moments where it goes very 70s, you get these shots, you get wipes, you get split screen, but they're never used in a way that feels clumsy or like it was just being done because the film is set in the 19th. It always serves a purpose. The split screen can be used very juxtaposing. It can be very creepy, which isn't something you expect. And I was very, very pleased with that. And there's this very interesting thing that they do with the way you can transition from scenes. In that, your scene will be ending. You'll see about 2 seconds of the next scene, then you'll go back 2 seconds of the last scene, 2 seconds of the next scene. And I don't really know why they chose to do this, but it's very good, and it creates these very interesting, quite jarring, but in a good way, sequences in which you're sort of expecting something unsettling to happen, and just because the edit is unusual and interesting.
If Daddy catches us, there's no telling what he might do.
My wife is not well. It happens after dark.
Another super creepy thing about the film is the Tyler Bates Chelsea Wolfe score, which is predominantly a lot of female voice. I'm pretty sure it's Chelsea Wolfe because I like her music anyway, and I reckon it felt like. And the use of voice in these sort of groany, moany sounds is incredibly unsettling, and paired with those wide angles, almost have a more sort of ghostly, supernatural horror aspect to them, but also ties in with the porn aspect, because what do you hear when you're watching porn apart from Bow Chicka Wow Wow music, which obviously this film does do at points? You hear people moaning and groaning and making sex noises. And by using... I mean, there are times where you will go from the sort of diegetic sound of people having sex, and then you'll have other groany, spooky groan noises coming in, and it creates this very... It just adds something to it, and sometimes there are spooky points where the sex moans come in. I can't believe I'm talking about this. But it works, and it's unsettling, and it means, again, it's a horror film about people making a porno. It's not a horror film in which there was a porno mentioned a while ago, but that's not. It all ties in, and you know, the sex stuff is a massive part of the film, and the fact that it's in the soundtrack is very, very good.
People's eyes are gonna pop out of their damn skulls when they see this.
If you can't tell, I'm massively impressed by X. And to be honest, the further away from it I get, the further away from seeing it last night, the more things I think, oh, that was bloody good, that was. I mean, it's paced so well. The script is just on it completely. The way that, I mean, Ty West knows how to pace something. Even his VHS short is paced so well and builds tension so well, and X does exactly the same thing. But I keep coming back to the fact that I really liked the characters, and I enjoyed spending time with them, and I cared about them, and despite knowing that you know, they were going to die, I didn't want them to. And it's been a long time since I've seen something that is ostensibly a slasher film that did that. And I like that it's, to a very weird degree, I like that it's a sex positive horror film, which again you don't get very often, or at least that's how I took it. I'm very much looking forward to the prequel that got announced, well, basically when the film ended, because I just want to see what else they can do. I'm really looking forward to seeing it again, and I would urge anyone to go and see X, because if this isn't one of the best horror films that came out this year, then some very, 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 very good shit coming. But that's just my opinion. What did you think of X? Is it something you want to go and see? Did you see it? What did you think? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe so you don't miss any more videos, and I shall see you next time.